All right, so this is going to be somewhat of a quiz.
Going quiz type. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a quiz on you. All right, so we're going to start a screen. We're going to build our own. So, what's our first criteria?
First criteria is cash.
Cash. Okay, so that's what you want to be the first one.
Money. I don't really know how it works for dividends, but I'm just going based off. I'm going based off of what's that?
Yeah. All right. So when dividends are your lead, then dividends should be your first criteria.
All right, you're right.
So if that's the basis of what you're looking for, and if you're going to measure your success off of the income produced, then that should be your first measurement, is whether or not it even fits into your base criteria for a dividend business. All right, so what are the three filters that we use for dividends?
Dividend yield, dividend growth, and dividend payout.
All right. So which one would you put first?
Dividend yield.
Dividend yield. All right. Now, what is a dividend yield?
Got me on that one. Percentage of the company with total income that they give in dividends.
It's almost there. Almost there. Okay. So it's basically for every share that you buy, for every dollar that you of the stock that you buy, every dollar, how much of that are they going to give back to you in income? So if you buy a stock for $10 and they give you $1 in income in dividends, that's a 10% yield.
So the amount.
So if you buy, so how much of the based upon how much you paid for the stock, how much are they giving you back in income? So your yield can fluctuate wildly based upon how much you pay for the actual stock. So using that same example, here, let's throw this up. So if you have a $10 stock and whoops, I did that backwards. A $10 stock that produces produces a $1 dividend is a 10% yield. That same $1 dividend on $5 is 20% yield, because they're giving you more money, but you paid less for it.
Okay.
So you're getting more income off of what you paid for. Did I explain that okay?
So explain that last portion one more time.
All right. So say, for instance, you buy a stock and the stock is $100, right?
All right.
So you got a $100 stock, and they're doing $2.50 a year, because it's measured in annual, in dividends.
Yeah.
So basically, your dividend is 2.5%, because it's 2.5% of what you paid for.
Okay.
Now, what happened is that same stock 1 month later, if it goes up to $125, but your dividend
Well,
hasn't changed.
it makes sense now.
Now you get the same dividend amount, but the yield is lower because it's only 2% of the actual price of it.
Okay.
So here's where it's kind of counterintuitive. When the value of a business that I've invested in, as long as I've done my research and I'm solid on that business, if the stock price goes down from $100 I bought in, goes down to 90, I'm not that mad because my yield went up.
Okay.
That means I'm going to get more. I'm getting more income out of my. I'm gonna get more income out of my dollars now.
Okay.
Now I don't want it to go tanking, but if it takes a little dip, which all investments do, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm actually a little bit giddy. I'm fine because it actually helps me in the long run. So that is one of the reasons why dividend investing, when you really get it, you're not as concerned about when your stock price goes down. Because if the only thing you invested in was for your stock price to go up, then your heart would be palpitating and you'd be having some issues. But since that is when the price of it goes down, it actually helps you. Then you're not actually you're good. You're good in those little downturns when it happens. You're fine. Everything's gravy. All right, so see if you can explain it back to me, the dividend yield.
Dividend yield, I guess it's a percentage of the sum of money you invested stock wise that is given back to you.
Yeah, the cost of the stock.
Cost of the stock.
Yeah, percentage of the cost of the stock at the time when you buy it.
At the time, okay, at the time you buy it.
At the time you buy it, because the stock price goes up and down. So you buy some this month, it's $100. You buy some next month, it's 95. So it's a percentage of at the time that you buy it.
Okay. So it's like a ratio.
All right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So okay. So it's the ratio of the annual dividend compared to its shared price, shared stock price.
What, you just look it up?
I was trying to get I was trying to get a better way to explain it, like in a more shorter way.
Yeah. It's it's how much money they pay you based upon how much money you pay for it.
Okay, I'm gonna write this down.
Is that a better way?
Oh yeah, I was trying to simplify it so I can remember when I look at my notes. All right.
So you got dividend yield, and we'll keep that at 0%. No, let's raise it up to 1. Let's have some yield. All right, so that scooted it down to 2,000 results. All right, so what would you think is number 2?
Dividend growth.
Dividend growth. Okay. Now with dividend growth, you're going to have 2 different filters in here. I'll go ahead and tell you the 5-year average is the one you're looking for.
5-year average.
Yeah. And negative 100 is not something we're looking for. Let's do a positive something. Now, what is dividend growth? The growth rate. What is that?
The dividend. I mean, it's the growth of a dividend based off the years. Years that company been giving dividends. Whether over a 5-year period, it'd be the growth over a 5-year period. The percentage that it grows over a period.
So think about it this way. Think about your dividend getting a raise every year without you adding any money. That's the growth. Like literally, it's getting a raise every year. You put your dividend to work, and the company said, "Oh, good. Here, get a raise, get a 5% raise this year, a 10% raise this year, 11% raise this year." So literally, that's a raise. And the beauty of the dividend growth is that your income increases without you having to actually do anything. That's the beauty of it.
Okay. Definitely.
All right. Number 3 by default is the dividend payout. All right. Remember what that is?
Dividend payout. I'm guessing the amount of dividends that's been paid to you compared to the income of the company.
Not exactly. Basically, because dividends are paid out of cash, how much of the cash are they using to pay the dividends?
Okay.
That's the payout percentage. So if they have $100,000 in cash and they use 60,000 of it to pay dividends, that's a 60% payout. So the higher the payout, what'd you say?
Cash is it's the income of the company after.
No, cash. No, it's cash in the bank.
All right.
They pay dividends out of cash.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's literally how much of the cash in the bank are they using to pay the dividends. And the higher that number for most businesses, not all of them, but for most businesses, the higher the number, the more you want to stay away from it.
Okay.
The reason is because if you think about it in your own personal checking account, right? If you're paying rent, electricity, car, all that stuff going on, and then you also have to pay a payment every month, every single 3 months, and then eventually, in that payment, you got to increase it every single 3 months. Once it starts getting into where it's taking up a whole bunch of your cash, then it starts threatening the rest of your household.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you got to start making some choices, because that's an optional feature. And if it starts threatening the rest of your household, then you start cutting out that feature. That's like Netflix. If Netflix was, increase, it might be valuable to you now, but if they increased every single 3 months for the next 40 years, eventually it'll get to the point to where it kind of loses its value.
It can't increase no more. You're losing money.
Yeah. So you want the dividend payout to be reasonably low.
Understood.
All right. So we went from 2,000 businesses down to 823 just by those three filters. All right. So now we get into the actual. So those are the income portion. That's the income portion of the business. So now we get into the actual health of the business.
Then we're going
All
to
right.
cash.
Oh yeah. Let's cash. Now, why is cash the first thing we look at? Why is cash the first thing we look at? Our next filter.
It's one of the number one deciding factors if a business is healthy or not. If
Not wholly.
A period of time.
It is the number one factor on whether or not they can sustain the dividends.
Okay. Number one factor sustain dividends.
Yeah, it's the number one factor on whether, because we got all this stuff on saying dividends are focus here, but the number one thing that decides whether or not they can maintain dividends going forward is their cash is growing at the same pace as the dividend growth. So if they're growing the dividend 5% a year, then the cash needs to be growing faster than that, or it's not sustainable.
Exactly. Okay.
All right. So what's our next health factor?
Earnings per share.
Absolutely. I don't know why they put in negative 100.
Drunk.
All right. Now explain why earnings per share is top dog now.
Earnings per share?
Yeah.
What do you think on this real quick? Earnings per share.
All good.
Earnings per share. Based for dividends, correct? Why dividends second?
Nope. We're shifting off of that. We're talking about this is the general health of the company. And earnings per share, the earnings per share is your number one measuring stick for the general health of the company. But why?
Number one?
Yep, for your measuring the general health of the company. Yep.
Dang. I'm just gonna try my best to guess. Can't remember
Okay.
right now.
Well, let's break it down this way. What are earnings?
And what a company gets after paying all the bills.
Yep. So it's basically profit, right?
So if the company isn't consistently growing their profit over a certain time period, it's probably a good outlook of if the company is going to last a long time or not.
Yeah. So the earnings is exactly if they're growing profits, if they're growing earnings, then they have the capacity to
Continue to grow.
Continue to grow. Now, then when you narrow it down, you filter it down even further. You say earnings per share. What that is how much profit are they making per share that I buy as an investor? So how are they growing the money?
That I'm getting.
How are they creating profit based upon the money that I put into the business?
Okay.
So it makes it a little bit more personal because it's saying not just how the earnings are for the company, but how the earnings are for me as an investor. So if I give you $1, how much of that are how much profit are you making off of it?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it brings it into how are you using my money? Because like you said, it's after you pay the bills. So you made some money on the front end from sales. You paid your employees. You paid up the lights. If you had any debts, you bought new equipment. You paid dividends. After all that's said and done, how much profit did you make? So if I gave you $1, how much did you bring home for daddy?
Goodness, yeah.
Yeah, I wanna. Daddy needs to feed the family. I want to know how much you brought home for daddy.
Exactly.
So that's why earnings per share is your top one, because it is the strongest indicator on how much they're doing for you as an investor for every dollar that you put in. Did I explain that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we got so now we're down to 583 businesses. Now there's over 4,000 we started with. By popping out the dividends, we knocked it down to 2,000. By putting in cash flow and earnings per share growth, we knocked it down to 583. So we got a few more to add in there. What's next?
So the next one is sales.
Sales. That's revenue on here. And we go for a 5-year. They're killing me with this whole negative 100% thing.
It's possible to have a negative 100% sales and still be afloat.
I don't know. I don't know how that works out for you. I don't know how that works out for them, but they got it in there. All right. So sales are easy. I'm not gonna ask you what sales are. That's easy. I will ask you this: when you're looking at a financial statement, and let me see how to phrase this question so that you understand what I'm trying to get to. When you look at a financial statement, and if you read over some financial documents, they might reference this as top something. When they're referencing top line. Top line. Yeah, because it's literally the number one thing when you look at the financial statement. Right at the top is sales, so it's top line.
Top line.
Yeah. So if you think about it, when you hear financial terms, they'll say, "What's the bottom line?" The bottom line is your profit, right? It's what you made after you paid the bills. Top line is what you brought in.
Okay.
So you got top line and bottom, but you hear bottom line a lot more. But top line is the other side of the coin. You got to bring in money first, somehow, some way. All right, so we got cash flow, EPS, revenue growth. What's next?
Book value.
Book value, book value, book value. What is book value?
Dang it. I always have my book with me. I know these off don't.
Well, that's what we got to get to be able to know them on top of your head.
I'm gonna try another guess. Maybe wrong again.
What you thinking?
Yes. I'm guessing it's like the total value of the company.
That's absolutely what it is. Now, what does that mean? That's the verbiage.
It could book value.
What does that mean? What does that mean to you? To know the total value of the company. Yeah, as an investor, what does that mean to you to know the total value of the company and whether or not it's going up?
Whether or not you're talking about whether or not that book value is growing or not.
Yeah. Why does that matter to you?
It shows me what they're doing with their what do you call those? It's called assets with the company. I mean, the stuff you don't make money off of. Like, what are you doing with those assets?
Well, assets are anything that you own.
Oh, assets, anything else.
Yeah, if you own it, it's an asset.
Total value.
If it has value.
Okay, so my guess would be, it'll show you.
You're on the right track.
With the total, with their assets, and if they're doing good or poor, what they have in total. And if they're growing every year with their assets, that show if the company has longevity or not.
Part of it, you're right in the sense that it shows longevity. Because if you're growing your book value, so book value in its simplest sense is what you own minus what you owe, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about it in terms of your house, it's saying, okay, I bought a car. It's worth $10,000, but I owe $9,000 on it. So your book value is $1,000. That's your book value, right?
Okay.
Then you bought in the car, then you also bought some speakers, but you didn't finance that. They worth $1,000. So now you got $2,000 in book value in that car. Then you bought a CD player, it's worth $500. So now you got $2,500 in book value in the car. So the book value is the value of the things that you own minus your debts.
All right.
So when a business is increasing its book value, it's buying more things that are worth something than not.
Okay. So it's basically showing you that the company is doing well with their assets rather than going in debt due to their assets.
Yeah. So now a wonderful company is buying these things with cash and no debt.
Okay.
Because if you're growing your value, so the same circumstance, if you buy a $10,000 car, but you owe no money on it, you got $10,000 in value. So then you go to that same scenario, you go back and buy a $1,000 stereo or $1,000 something in there, $500 CD player. Instead of having 2,500, now you got $12,500 in value.
Okay.
So a wonderful company. So I love a company that does business no debt, because that means when their book value is growing, they're buying things usually that's going to produce an income, and usually things that are going to have long-term value.
And where does it show that the company is using straight cash to buy things rather than debt?
Well, on the actual, you're looking at the computer now, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at the computer.
All right. So basically, what you do is you just now I just pick one of these that's down here.
A release, first source.
Yeah, I'm just randomly picking one. All right. So on here, on the financial statement. Now, this is not one of the things we normally look at as a top tier item, but right here, the long-term debt.
Okay.
This is now long-term debt is not necessarily a bad thing, because that could be leases on buildings and things like that. I'm looking more towards these liabilities here, and its total current debt load. So those are the two things I'm really, really, really kind of making sure.
Okay.
Like this one right here, they had 247, 240. They financed something pretty big, and then they paid it down. A huge chunk of it is on the way down again.
Okay.
So this company uses some debt to, move their operations, which is kind of normal. But an exceptional business, and they're rare and out there. So I'll give you an example of a business. And let's say change their practice. Is Walgreens. Hold on, where's it? Oh, WBA. So they actually shifted their practice, because for many moons they actually had no short-term debt at all. Now, what happened? I know a few years ago. Oh, you know what? You know what this is?
Right.
Walgreens did not themselves have debt. These are acquisitions.
Companies they bought.
They've been, yeah. So that when they buy a company, they have to take over the debts of that company. So this is why there's such a sharp drop, right? So you got this right here, huge jump up, and then such a sharp drop because they killed debt. They don't try to get into debt. But this right here is another acquisition, so they took over somebody else's debt again. Now what happened is these down here, these long-term debts, the ones that sustain, these are leases for the buildings and operations and things like that. And a lot of those are going to stay around. So I'm not fretting over that. It's more of they use debt to grow their operation. But I know that Walgreens in specific doesn't. But they consume businesses that have debt. But you see in their pattern, they kill it quickly. So the balance sheet, the book value will go up tremendously so this one right here, their book value will spike tremendously every single time they buy a business, because they're getting all the assets of their business. So their book value growth over the last 10 years is probably going to look ridiculous. because they're gobbling up businesses like crazy. Did I explain that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So book value. I think we got a decent grip on that one. There's one more we want to toss into there. You remember? It's not in these right here.
Is it return on equity? Or no?
Oh, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Is it return on equity?
Yep. All right. What is that? What is return on equity? So what does that mean?
Man. Return on equity.
Woo, you know it's gonna be a quiz today.
I ain't lying. I'm failing too. Taking L.
No, you ain't failing. We want to do this on a regular basis to make sure it sinks in. So I've been neglecting this part of the process. But this is actually very important.
Return on equity. So it has something to do.
What is equity?
The amount you make back on that asset?
Equity is another profit term. This one is no. Let me not lie to you. Let me make sure that let me make sure that I distinguish them properly. All right. So equity is the difference between the value of the stuff that you own minus the stuff that you owe.
Okay.
So is that the book value that we talked about?
Yeah.
Is how much money are they making on that money? So if they bought a car and it's got $1,000 worth of equity in it, so you got $10,000 worth of value minus $9,000 of debt. You got $1,000 worth of equity. How much money are they making on that? On that $1,000?
How much they're making
on that difference? Yeah.
The return on that equity, or on basically return on the asset minus their liability.
Yeah. So think about it this way. So if you you buy a computer, right? For you had a side business, right? What was the side business?
A side business, making graphic designs for people.
Yeah. There you go. Perfect. All right. So say for instance, you buy a computer just for that business, right? And it costs you $2,000. How much money? And you bought it, but you had to finance $1,000 of it, so you owe $1,000. But so you got $1,000 in equity in that computer. The $2,000 you bought for it minus $1,000 owed. How much money are you making on that computer? So how much money are you making on that $1,000 of equity?
Okay.
So return on this thing, and this is going to apply to anything. How much money are you making with blank?
Okay.
So return on anything is how much money are you making with that?
All right. So like for a business way, they buy computers and desks. How much you're making on?
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter what the asset is. Now some assets some assets don't really make much money. Like you buy chairs, it's not going to make much money, right?
Yeah.
But if you buy a building, that building should be producing some income.
Yeah.
So some assets are not going to directly affect your income. They're going to indirectly. So you're going to buy tables and chairs and a refrigerator, but then you're going to fill it with income producing people.
That's the most important thing.
So your return on equity is and the easiest way to think about it is separated into two parts. One is what is return on, and return on with anything is how much money am I making on this.
Yeah.
And equity is, the what I paid for it minus what I owe on it.
Okay. What I paid on it minus what I owe on it.
Actually, it's probably more actually the value of it minus what you own it. That's more accurate.
So the value
All right,
I paid on what I paid for it.
The value of it minus what you owe on it.
Okay.
And there's a reason for the distinction. You go back to like a car, right? You buy a car for $15,000. 1 year from now, it's only worth $12,000.
Ain't lying.
So the value of that vehicle went down. So it's the the value minus what you owe. So next year the value of that thing is worth 12, but you still owe 10 on it. All right, so those are our 5 things, plus our 3 for what's the name. Now, with that said, we've got 8 filters now. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5. So we've got 8 filters. Now we got 400 results. So that's a lot of results. So what we can do now is kind of start from the back, and we can weed out a few of the bottom feeders.
All right, crunch some numbers.
So instead of 1%, we'll change it to 3 on the bottom 5. All right, so by shifting it to 3% as our base, we shift it off 100. Now the payout percentage, because we don't want that to go too high, we can shave off the top. Yeah.
It's 24,000%.
Yeah. So that cut off another 40. The dividend growth, we can put it at a minimum of say 4%. And 30, and a yield, we can bring that up to 2%. That's probably where we want to benchmark anyway. So now we're down to 147. Now I won't wean this off too much more, but we can bring this, we can make it a little bit thriftier. And bring these up to 4%.
Hey, I don't feel.
All right, so here we go. We got a list to play with.
The,
Still got
the dividend payout.
132 results. Hmm.
The dividend payout, it says 0 to 100%. You want that to stay at 0%?
The dividend payout? Yeah, it can be.
It doesn't really matter.
We can go ahead and throw something in there, but I don't. I've never actually messed with the zero. Perfectly honest, I've only messed with the top end. Let's see how that does. Yeah, that ain't really affected.
Okay.
Yeah, it was more because you don't. This is how much money they paying out of cash, and if you're paying all of your cash out, then that's bad for most businesses. Well, let's go ahead and simplify this. I said most of the time you're not going to want to invest in a business that's doing more than 60%. So let's go ahead and filter that out. All right, so here we go. That was a good catch though.
140.
Now, let me throw in a filter that we didn't mention earlier, but this is a factor. Huh?
Return on asset?
No. This is a basic company fact. How much is the actual stock going to cost you?
Yeah. I'm not trying to pay thousands of dollars for a stock.
Yeah. So you don't let's now normally, and this is just my best practice. I don't know if it's the best practice. I start off with stocks that's $25 or less.
Low.
The reason for that is actually very simple. Because because I'm looking at income comes from per share that I buy.
Yeah.
So if I can buy a wonderful business for $5 a share, I can buy more of that business than I could for a business that's $50 a share.
Sure.
Because each share is going to produce an income, and that's going to allow that income to grow a lot faster if I can buy more shares.
Correct.
Did I explain okay? You need a visual on it? Visual?
No. Yeah, I understand that.
Okay. So that's what what that did was that bring that down to 32 results. So that's why I wasn't too worried about having a couple hundred results, because once I pulled in that last filter, which was the dollar amount, security price, it really brought it down.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and shift this by yield. And we could take a real quick snapshot. So this is the highest yield. 16% average growth rate. It's at the top at payout percentage. But I don't know if you remember this, but I told you that. Do you remember what a REIT is?
REIT. It's like an investment company, right?
Real estate. So literally, real estate investment trust. And they usually have this in their name, trust.
Trust. Okay.
So it's a real estate investment trust. Now, real estate investment trusts are always going to have a high payout. So that's not a disqualifier for them. All right, so the cash flow growth is really high. That's nice. Earnings per share is nice and high. Revenue growth is nice and high. Book value is nice and high. Return on equity is nice and high. And then that price is $12.91.
That's beautiful. Nice and low.
All right, so now we just take a quick look at the actual financials.
Make sure it's doing. Definitely,
All right, that's
definitely. That's asset.
well. All right, so here we go.
Oh
Cash.
my God.
So it went up, it went down, then came right back up. So they had this year right here, for whatever reason, went down. Now, cash going down in 1 year is not a disqualifier. They could have bought something
Okay.
that kind of changed everything.
What about the net cash flow? That bar at the bottom. 31, 36.
Yeah, that's accounting, and you'd have to dig in a lot deeper to find out what that is. I go with the top line on the first initial run.
Okay.
Yeah, because this could be any number of things. Because this is an adjustment to net income. That could be a lot of different reasons for that.
Yeah.
So I don't disqualify for that one. I'm more look for this right here, this flow, and does it look semi-rational? And like I said, a one-time drop is not a big thing. Because that, literally that could just mean that they bought something that year, made a big purchase. So the next one is sales, and they're cranking.
Boom. Word in Dublin.
Okay, all right. Let's scroll down. Earnings per share. Ooh, a little wobbly. I'm not a fan of that one. I'm not a fan of the earnings per share. Yeah, I wouldn't go there with that one. Let's just take a look at the other metrics.
%, 4%.
Yeah, the earnings per share, I would be that makes it, because remember, it's our most important metric. So that one would disqualify this one for me.
Yeah.
B&G Foods. Didn't we look at this?
Looked at this one last week.
We did? All right. No need to go back. Look,
it does look familiar,
huh?
though. It does look familiar.
All right. Well, we'll know in just a second. So they had a rough in 2018. They had a rough 2018 in cash, but once again, that could have been a big payout because they went 4 years strong. They're steadily increasing sales. Earnings per share went up pretty good. They had a little bit of a tough one, that one. But they actually fairly consistent. So something might have happened in 2018 because their cash went down that year and their earnings per share went down that year. But the sales were fine.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily know if I would throw them out just yet. I would go ahead and put them into the category of maybe taking another look.
Watch list. Yeah.
Oops, let me look at that. All right. So their book value compared to the rest of the group, average
1.13%.
Yeah, so this year's growth was down, but the 5 years was up.
Okay.
Okay. Might be something to look at. It wouldn't be the number one, but I think it's worth actually taking a look. Let's just see what happened that last year. That'll be down the road. Actually, let me save this stock screen. This is going to be Caleb's stock screen. How do I save it? Save to my screen. Oh, did I already do that?
Oh. Yep, I guess save over it.
All right. So for time's sake, because we'll take a little bit of, we're not gonna rush through this process. So let's for time's sake, let's just, because it's 6:30, and I gotta start getting ready to go out of town. Let's pick one more out of here. You see any names that you recognize that you might want to jump into? And see Kroger's?
Go Kroger. Huh?
Yeah, all right, let's look at them at. So you got book values, okay. Return on equity, phenomenal. Revenue growth, not that great. EPS growth, cash flow growth, average. Dividend payouts, fine. Dividend growth is good. Dividend yield, slightly on the lower. Well, it is the lowest one out of this group, and it just made the $25 benchmark. So let's see. So cash is all over the place.
Damn.
So yeah, not too sure about that one. All right, top line. They're not doubling, but they're mostly consistently moving up. Now here's kind of a challenge of a very large company.
Yeah.
It's hard to move that needle and double every 5 years in sales. They're consistently moving up though, so that's impressive. 2018 was a little bit of a. Now here's the big dog here. They are they're solid with their earnings per share. They're not they've been regularly moving up. They had a great 2018. So the sales aren't phenomenal, but I'll give a huge company that's bringing in almost $1 billion in, I'm sorry, 100 and this is in millions, so this 830 million, $108 billion in sales.
That's a lot of money.
Or is that right? Yeah, that's 100. Is that right? Because this is 162 million. The next category is billion, right?
123. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give a business that's bringing in $121 billion in sales a little bit of slack on not doubling every. So I'm more look at the bottom line here. The sales are moving up. EPS is moving up. Cash flow for that 1 year, these 2 years, that would bring me a little bit concerned with the dividend.
It's slow boogieing.
And just out of curiosity, I think this is. Yeah, they steady.
Okay, 12. Oh yeah, they consistent, right?
Yeah, they're consistent. 4.
Wow. They have a philosophy.
So they got well organized. Now, here's one of the things I love about this company, right? Is they raised their dividends even in the midst of what other companies were cutting, because this is the heart of the financial crisis. At the end of 2008 to 2009, they raised their dividend anyway.
Whoa.
So they increased the income of their investors regardless of the financial situation that's going on in the economy. I can appreciate that.
Definitely. There was one company I want to look into. Here in the background, let's see how well they did. Emerson, so they had a upset because there's a tragedy that happened at one of their major factories.
Yeah.
They had like some major
Would you want to add
flooding.
Kroger to your watch list?
Sure.
It's up to you. The cash is
What's the dividend? They got a good dividend, you know. I don't remember
Oh
what the
yeah.
dividend was looking like.
What the yield is okay.
Yeah.
The growth is phenomenal.
I would add it.
Yeah.
They
And the payout ratio is mind blowing, 14.9%.
Yeah, definitely. That's a
you got 50 years of growth in that.
I'm pretty sure Ghost Story's gonna be here a little while longer.
All right, and let's close on it. Well, let me do this real quick. You want to see? Let's evaluate this. Let's close on plugging in Kroger's. If you're invested in Kroger's right now, what that would look like. But you say you want to look at Emerson?
No, I'm gonna look at Emerson on my own.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's pop Kroger into the dividend calculator.
After this.
All right. Let's say you invested $500, and you just did $100 per month. After that, all right. So the Kroger, the dividend. What's that first question? The expected annual growth of the stock. Let's just put it at 6%. Say it's low. The price of it right now
is it zoomed in?
$24.15. The annual dividend amount right now is 14 cents times 4. It's 56 cents. The yield is 2.3, and the growth, let's keep it at where it's at, 11 point on the 5 years, 11.16. All right, so if you invested $500 with this company right now, based on where it's at with the dividends, and if the price of the stock grew up an average of 6% every year, so it's automatically is going up 6% every year. Let's look at the 40-year outlook on that.
Is your screen zoomed in, or no?
What's that?
Or is this? Oh no, it's my. Oh, never mind. I guess it's my phone that does it. Never mind. You good? My phone's tripping. Oh, I got it right now.
You got it?
Yeah, my image was like super zoomed in. I couldn't figure out why.
Oh. All right. Darn it. So if you just did $500 and added $100 a month, you have over $500,000. I got to go back and fix something real quick. Sorry. That's annoying. All right, so 20 years, that's 20. And 30, 360, and 40 is. All right, so you'd have actually $375,000 producing about $9,000 a month.
Okay.
That's not bad. It's not bad. Now, here is the reason why that is kind of low is one is your initial dividend. So let's say you start off with a 4% dividend with that same growth rate. So instead of 375, now you got 622,000 with $24,000 a month in income. So the yield changes the outcome tremendously. So even at 2.3, even if you went up just to 3%, you went from $374,000 to $460. So the yield is the beginning yield is actually very important in helping you to actually boost your how much you get in the back end and how much income you're going to get in the back end. So I like the Kroger. The only thing that would put me pause is I would want a higher yield at the beginning, if possible, especially from your first major investment. I'd want a little bit higher yield. I love the growth. I love the payout, but I'd want a little bit higher yield. Now, here's the irony of it. If you can't find anything else, then this is a good company to invest in because you know in 40 years it's going to produce income for you.
Yeah.
It's going to be there, right? So this might not be the best company to invest in at the moment, but if you go through 40 what's the names and you want to allocate your funds, then this will be a good company to invest in at the moment.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I have one question before we go.
Yeah, absolutely.
My younger brother, he's about 12 years old.
Yeah.
Landon. He was talking to me over the weekend about is it possible for him to open up and start investing now as a young kid?
Yes.
So my question is what company can I open an account? Can his mom or me open an account for him? Fidelity? Okay.
Yeah. What it's called is because I have those accounts with AJ and Ian. Ian's 10 years old. So what it is you can open up what's called a custodial Roth IRA.
Okay.
So they get all the benefits of a Roth IRA. Now here are the kind of the legal parameters around that. Okay. The legal parameters is he needs to have some type of income coming in. It could be chore money, grade money, birthday money, whatever it is. Any type of money that he receives that could be considered income. And that needs to be just trackable to a degree. So it really doesn't matter what it is. Okay, like I said, it could be chore money. It doesn't have to be actually go out and work at McDonald's. It's not that type. It just has to be something where the IRS would look at it and say, "Oh yeah, a 12-year-old would do that." So even go out and rake lawns. It doesn't really matter. Like I said, good birthday money too. You can invest up to the maximum of what that child earns in a year, or the maximum that you can invest in a Roth IRA for the year, whichever is higher or lower.
Okay.
So as an example, You can invest up to $5,500 right now in a Roth IRA a year.
Yeah.
If he earns $1,000, then you can invest up to $1,000.
Okay.
And you
So
can
the
and
income has to be consistent. Is what you're saying?
no, I didn't say
That
it'd
has
be
to be,
consistent. It
this
has
has
to
to
be
be
legitimate.
some kind of legitimacy.
Yeah,
Okay, legitimate.
yeah, it just has to be legitimate. The and it, so for as an example, my kids make two sources of income. One is they get a commission off of their chores, and that fluctuates based upon how well they do their chores. So they don't going to get a flat amount. If they don't do well, they don't get paid. If they do horrible, they don't get paid and they get punished.
That's funny.
But the second source of income is from they actually make it off of what they do is Kumon, and they earn their money. Kumon is an after-school learning program where they go in to do reading and math. So we built an income stream around them for that, based upon them going there and then the results they get
Okay.
off of the grading system. So they have two regular sources of income that they get from those things, and so we can put up to 100% that they earn with that, plus any birthday money they get. If they randomly do something and somebody gives them cash throughout the year, all that can be added.
Is that system easily can the kid use it, like basically that account, can he like freely use the account, like look at
Once they
stocks?
get 18, it's theirs. Yeah.
Okay.
Now you can
Before they're 18, basically it's monitored by the parent.
yes. So you can invest in it, do whatever up till you can invest it on whatever behalf.
Okay. So what I'm getting at is, can
Once
he?
they get
The way my
18, it's
mama
theirs.
kind of work. Okay, the way my mama work, the way she does stuff, she kind of just put it in our lap to figure it out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I know she opened up this account. And I know most likely Landon would manage the account, even though it's in her. You know what I mean? She's a custodian. He would look at stock of some sort. I'm just saying, how easily is it for him to do that? Is it like do it look different or still be the same?
It's a Fidelity account. No, only difference is
exactly
it have his name on it. Oh yeah.
All right.
The search tools, everything's exactly the same. Only thing is, it'll say custodial Roth IRA. You can actually rename it. You call it Landon's account, Landon's Roth IRA, and then he cannot access the money inside of it until without authorization from the custodian until he turns 18. Now, once he turns 18, you guys have no rights at all. He can do whatever he wants with that money inside of it.
Okay.
Now, if he has some patience and some wisdom, he'll keep investing and let it, do its thing for years.
I guess somebody was talking to him about it, and so he's really interested in it. And my main thing was like, first you just gotta get an income so you can steadily invest in it.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty easy for a kid to do.
Mm-hmm. Now, with your brother, what I would suggest is you start him. Did I walk with you how to actually do index funds?
No, that's something you said.
Okay, let's do that next week. Yeah, let's do that next week. Let's backtrack because literally it only takes a few minutes because you already got the base investing knowledge, so it'll only take a few minutes to translate to index funds. But the difference between going to stocks and index funds is literally the time. You can make an investment decision in an index fund in 15 minutes. It took 30 minutes. It'll take 30 minutes just to build a watch list for stocks. Yeah. So it takes more time. Now there's a higher opportunity for growth with stocks. But for simplicity's sake, you can have a phenomenal investment portfolio with index funds, and you can have a rock star, and it has the same principles. You're looking for dividend producers, some of the same principles involved. The only difference is it's a lot simpler to make a decision.
Yeah.
So I'll show you that one, and then you can literally show him how to do it. And for his first few decisions, you walk with him through the process, and then after a few, he's gonna get it, and he'll be able to. By 13, 14, he'll be an investor, and he'll be solid.
That'd be awesome.
And he'll be solid. And literally, he can take that skill set and apply it for the rest of his life. And if he wants to, move off and do it, stocks or something else later, you can show him that later. But right now, if he wants to do it, to show him how to do something that's only going to take 15 minutes to make a decision.
Yeah.
Because the time involved is a deterrent for most people. You're just a special case. All right. So we'll go over that next. We'll take a pause on the stock next week, and then we'll go over dividends. And like I said, it won't take long. And then we'll go over the dividends, and then we'll screen out a few more stocks. The goal is to get to about 10 stocks in the watch list, and then once we get to that point, then we'll dig in and go through the research phase. But we want to build up a decent watch list because a lot of them are going to disqualify within the first 2 or 3 things of the research.
Yeah. That's the deal.
Sound good?
Sounds wonderful.
All right, fantastic. All right, well,
you.
Yeah, we'll
this week.
Hmm?
I said
What'd
party hard this week. I said party hard this week. Have a blast.
Oh no. Oh man, so I gotta be quiet because we got. Let me take over.